This is not like
No.
500 million people have big amounts of crypto. They might have $20, but they still already have a wallet. So they already understand the technology. And basically, a third of those people, they say, according to different researches done on different markets, that they don't see this only as the investment or remittance. They also see this as a payment vehicle, right? As a payment option. We have this client like marketplaces for freelancers, where many freelancers are getting their earnings in USDT, USDC, Ethereum, and so on. And if you get income in crypto, of course, you need to convert something to your local currency.
Yeah.
But also if there are places to spend it and pay for your rent, to pay for the rent of the car or motorcycle, it's a valid option. So only 30% are happy to pay. The rest, maybe they're just holders.
Hello, Max. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure having you here.
Hi, Monica. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Cool. So let's go into it. This podcast is all about how we can create more purpose-driven fintechs. So what's your take?
My take is that there are a bunch of clever boys and girls who are creating amazing fintechs, right? So my take is not to intervene into evolutionary process of trial and error. There are a bunch of money being invested. There are a bunch of companies being created, being closed, being sold, bought, and so on. And I believe that in fintech, especially, those businesses which grow, they are making impact, right? And they have a purpose and they're helping a bunch of people. So there is not much we have to do, really. It's going well, I think.
It's just let it evolve.
Yeah.
I like that approach. So basically, I was going to ask, what's your purpose? But then instead of asking that, it's, did you create CryptoProcessing by CoinsPaid with a specific purpose in mind? Or how did it evolve?
Yeah, the purpose was relatively easy, relatively simple, I would say, right? So I'm a believer in the concept of cryptocurrency. I started in 2013 just by understanding how Bitcoin works, right? And I was like, oh, the concept is cool, right? It should work somehow. So creating CryptoProcessing was let's give organizations around the world the opportunity to communicate with those believers in cryptocurrency, with those who found some use cases for cryptocurrency in their lives. Then apparently it was a good bet. We see more and more such people. We see more and more organizations willing to serve those clients, and more other fintechs also willing to solve this for their clients. So not only for businesses, for people, but also for other fintechs who are lacking this expertise, but they also start to feel the need as well to win their competition.
Yes. And you said at the beginning that you believe in crypto, basically. But not only do you believe in crypto, like you were a pioneer of crypto in Ukraine, even though you've been away for a long time. What's that story?
Maybe a bit of entrepreneurial spirit, right? If I see there's something can be done and I have time and I have inspiration, then I prefer just to do instead of not doing. So we gathered a very small group of people in Ukraine in 2013. Basically, we were feeling like, okay, there is no industry players on the market. Let's create some sort of platform, right? So I founded Satoshi Square Kiev. It was a clone of the London concept for meetups. So basically we're meeting with everyone who is interested in crypto, everyone who would like to learn more about crypto. And I was just hosting every week or every 2 weeks, I was hosting this educational event, just sharing what I learned about crypto. And so it was very early days. And many people heard the word Bitcoin for the first time at that time. And then with the guys, we founded Bitcoin Foundation Ukraine, which was like a non-profit organization to consult, to help, to combine businesses with each other and so on. It didn't grow to be huge or whatever, but it was, hobby projects, I would say.
Yeah. It must be very rewarding to be like, hey, I was there at the beginning, not at the beginning of my company, but at the beginning of the crypto movement in my country. That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. That's cool. I would say I'm quite proud when some projects, and there are a bunch of crypto companies from Ukraine or with Ukrainian founders, but sometimes they mention me in the interviews like, oh, there was this Max, I heard from him, or I heard from the guy who heard from him. I mean, I'm quite proud in some sense.
That is cool. So you're a little bit of a celebrity there then. In the community.
Maybe a little bit in the narrow circles.
In the community. Cool. But then one of my questions is like, how did you end up moving to Argentina? Why Argentina? Can't places.
Basically, my wife, she likes Rotterdam. And she was like, Rotterdam is an amazing place. I like the vibe, I like everything, but the weather is very bad. Argentina has some areas looking exactly like Rotterdam, but the weather is much better, and it is a spring here. No, but basically, because of the instability in the Latin America, right? Many countries struggle with the local currency, they struggle with the fintechs and so on. So it really worth exploring what are the opportunities here for the business, right? Because we are looking very actively in the US. We are quite strong already in European Union, right? So there are basically 3 more areas where we like still looking around, and Latin America. So the South America is the region where we didn't have a lot of success up to date. So willing to explore what is interesting here. Honestly, already found around 100 places in Buenos Aires accepting cryptocurrency, just cafes, restaurants, shops, and so on. So crypto here is very big. People don't like using their local currency in the sense they cannot really hold it because it's always decreasing in price. And of course, most of the things, they are still valued or pegged to US dollar, right? So everyone are trying to explore how they can get away from holding local currency. Dollars cash is something that here are very actively used, but also cryptocurrency. Of course, everyone here have mobile phones, right? Is in everywhere, and basically using some apps, fintechs, crypto wallets. This is something what people do, and of course, businesses, they need a robust ecosystem to accept those payments as well. So explore and let's see how it goes.
Interesting. And that's exactly why that's why I was like, why Argentina? Because there was like there's an element of beautiful country, beautiful weather, but also hey, a little bit of instability. Hey, maybe crypto is like an alternative.
No, the crypto is here. Crypto is here.
Cool. Well, who uses crypto in Argentina?
Basically, people who are doing mostly international businesses, right? International remittances. Those people who work abroad or like online, or who go abroad and then send money home, like remittances. Of course, I would say like a more blue collar workers are not there yet. But from what I see as an informational wave, I can see advertisements of different crypto companies in the buses, on the buildings, right? Or the just adverts that you can see in the city, right? So the word crypto here, people really contact with it, I don't know, like every week or so. So it's really getting there. I am still researching on the regulation here, but looks like not a very difficult process of getting a license. It's called VASP, usually in these spaces, right? Virtual Asset Service Provider. So these licenses are here relatively easily issued, as far as I understand. Argentina got a new president recently, right? Who is very innovative, also digital. We see no vibes that they will be restricting cryptocurrency, right? So they're trying to make it work together, not to destroy the local currency even more, but also to embrace crypto because they don't see any harm in that.
Yeah. And then you've lived in different countries. Your business is global, basically. What's your take on, I have this hypothesis that fintech has been around for 10 years or so. But crypto, you said you started around 2013 or so, right? So even though we as an industry, we've had a ton of impact trying to solve for financial stress, my believe is that the pain point has increased, if anything, in these 10 years. Even though we've had impact, it's still on the rise. What's your take on how we can have 10 times more impact in 5 years' time? And maybe more specific using crypto.
Let's go like one step back and speaking about the fintech in general, right? I still want to divide B2B fintech and B2C fintech, right? Because I believe they are solving slightly different needs. So fintechs in general, they are much more innovative and disruptive. And this is something that the older financial infrastructure, right, bigger banks, they are lacking a lot. And I believe that for the B2C market, just people having bank accounts, it might not be that difficult. But when we speak about businesses who are especially innovative industries, right? I don't know, maybe someone is selling, trading esports items, right? For Dota, Counter-Strike, and so on. For many classic banks, this is an alien industry, right? They have no idea what it is. They say it's a very high risk. We don't work with that, right? Especially if they work internationally, right? What if they trade, in Asia, they trade in Africa, they trade in Latin America, and so on. For the classical banks, there is no chance they can literally have this client and serve all the payment needs, right? As the classical bank. We speak about Deutsche Bank, all right, in German. And they don't have a capacity, they don't have a knowledge, they don't have expertise, right? Then when you go to the guys like Revolut, for example, right, they have much more, right? They have a better infrastructure, they have better connections to different countries, they have better capacities for an exchange, right? Converting different countries into different currencies. And then the different EMIs that are opening everywhere, they also have their sub entities all around the world, right? They can basically receive money in Argentina, give you that money somewhere in Singapore, and so on. So they are very quick in moving the money, and especially that is what innovative, high volume business need, right? They need this money to be traveling extremely quickly, as cheap as possible and as quick as possible. And in most of the cases, we are speaking here about internet businesses, right? Online businesses, because right now, most of the younger people, they spend money online, right? They only eat offline, right? The rest of the things they pretty much, and sometimes they even order it online.
Yes, we do, yeah.
And so it's all about internet now. And if we think about cryptocurrency, this is money of the internet, right? This is nothing more, nothing less. This is a native currency of the internet. All it needs to be sent is internet. So offering this to these innovative businesses really makes sense. And now speaking about B2C, right? All those younger people who want to do everything online, they need to have these super apps, right? Where you have your wallet there, you have all your favorite restaurants start in this app, you have a taxi service here, you can find your mobile phone here, you can buy vouchers here, right? You do investments over here, right? You buy, gold in this application, you buy Bitcoin in this application, you buy stocks in this application, and so on. So basically, this is what the requirements from these younger people who enter the economy, let's say so, right? They might not be the millionaires, right? They might not be the top 5% of the global wealth yet, but this is already their demand, right? And the amount of these people is bigger and bigger, right? I'm 36, right? For me, speaking with people who are like 25, sometimes I see those completely different people, right? They have completely different backgrounds and needs and so on.
Yes.
So combining all this international businesses and international people who want to pay internationally, sounds like cryptocurrency is something that you can buy, you can use anywhere in the world.
True.
And of course, you want to spend it for some goods, services, investments, and so on. And businesses around the globe, they also want to have one payment method, which always works. But of course, you have more, right? And in Brazil, you need Pix, right? In Germany, you need Sofort. In China, you need WeChat, and so on. Still, right? Because majority of the people use those.
Yeah.
But there is still percentage of the people who would say, okay, I want to be completely global, right? I don't want to be dependent on the local solution, especially those people who are digital nomads and so on. They don't have real connection to one country, right? That is how the world is changing, especially after the COVID, during COVID. I think a lot of things changed, which was also very good for internet in general and for crypto.
Yes, and I like that you mentioned the international people. Because, for example, I've always struggled for many years. I've been like away from home for, I don't know, almost 20 years. And it is a struggle, right? Because it's not home. Like you're like here for a while, but then when it comes to managing money, you're like, oh, it's so complex. But then I still believe that other than businesses, like international people are so underserved in the industry, so underserved.
Yep.
So crypto is a good solution. So before we go like deeper in the topic, of course you're a crypto expert, pioneer and expert. Can you give us like a summary of where are we with crypto right now? Because there's like some incredible stats and 580 million people holding crypto, and that's like insane. It's like more than the US and Indonesia combined. I'm like, what? Not more, almost. So yeah, you are the expert. I just Googled. What's your view?
I would say 500 million. Of course, the statistics is not, no one really knows, right? Because this is not like how many people have Visa cards, right? Visa cards is something that is in the database of the Visa, right? You can specifically say how many cards are there, right? But if some people have 2 cards or 3 cards and so on, maybe it's not always easier to say if it is amount of the card or amount of the people with the card and so on. With crypto, it is even more complicated, right? Because you can open an account somewhere completely locally on your computer, on the mobile phone. You don't have to register any accounts and so on. So amount of the addresses is of course much bigger than 500 million, right? Amount of different wallets open also much bigger than 500 million, right? So if you try to clean this data a bit, take some averages, right? Okay, what feels like the same wallet, what feels like the same person, then let's grab some information from the Binance, from Coinbase, right? The reports that they share. 500 million sounds correct. Of course, those are not, as we call, whales, right? This is not like 500 million people have big amounts of crypto. They might have $20, but they still already have a wallet, right? So they already understand the technology. And basically, a third of those people, they say, according to different researches that are done on different markets and so on, that they don't see this only as the investment or remittance. They also see this as a payment vehicle, right? As a payment option.
Why? I'm like, I still don't understand. Why would I, if anyone bought, for example, Bitcoin quite cheap, why would you want to pay with it?
What would you do with it?
Save and hold and gamble.
Forever?
And gamble. Because it may go up or down. Yeah.
So just imagine, you bought one Bitcoin for $1,000, right? When it was 20, 15, 16? $1,000. Today we are at what? At 60, 3?
Yeah, roughly 60.
$63,000 for one Bitcoin. Okay, so you had one, now you have 63. Do you need anything? Do you want to buy anything? Or you just continue holding it?
Oh, in that case, yeah, you can splurge a little bit.
I don't know. I don't want to accuse you in anything, right? I don't know. Maybe you love some nice bag, right? Or maybe you decided to buy yourself a nice laptop, right? Or the microphone, really expensive and so on. And suddenly that shop sends Bitcoin. Why don't you send them 001 Bitcoin and get your microphone of your dreams, right? Or whatever. Right? That is how investor can really be the one spending, because instead of selling it, withdrawing to your bank account and going and buying, you buy directly with crypto.
So then you may have these insights. Good. I would assume that the majority of people, let's say of these 500 million, roughly, I could assume that the majority of people bought it when it was not 1,000, when it was way more expensive. So the incremental gain is not that big. Is that
No, that if you want to speak about cases, there are plenty of them, right? And I am probably the one who is in those use cases,
Yeah.
right? Basically, you can buy crypto, and then instead of selling, you might want to buy something. If, for example, you bought at 63, but then tomorrow the price is 60, you can be like, okay, my investment is probably in danger. I have to exit. And you can exit also by buying something. You can also, instead of selling to have a stop loss, right? Instead of selling it to have a stop loss, you can also buy
you can just buy?
Then if you are a trader, you're a professional trader, you trade on different exchanges, maybe you're arbitraging or whatever, you generate your income also in crypto.
Of course.
You can also spend that crypto, right? If you are international freelance, right? No, you live on Bali, right? You live in Thailand, right? You live in Argentina. Right? What is the best way to get money from a client, I don't know, from Cyprus, or I don't know, from US or from China, whatever. Cryptocurrency is the easiest way. It's the easiest way, right? You don't have to exchange so many currencies. You don't have to really ask them, oh, can you send to my Indonesian bank? They'll be like, guys, we have no idea or like how Indonesian banks work. We don't know what would be the exchange rate or whatever. Just with crypto is much easier. We have this client like marketplaces for freelancers, where many freelancers are getting their earnings in USDT, USDC, Ethereum, and so on. And if you get income in crypto, of course, you need to convert something to your local currency.
Yeah.
But also if there are places to spend it and not to pay for your rent, to pay, I don't know, for the rent of the car or motorcycle, it's a valid option. So let's say the only 30% are happy to pay. The rest, maybe they're just holders, right? They just keep it, as you say, I just bought it cheap and I just want to hold it. But then hold it. There is always a limit, right? If you bought for 1,000 and you're not happy to sell at 63, are you happy to sell at 630? Okay, no, maybe at 6 million. There would be a point, right, where you will be selling.
Yeah. Yeah. But I really like the use case that you said, hey, about all the freelancers. So basically, one of the biggest pain points in the industry is still remittances, because it's so painful to send money. That's it. It's just painful to send money abroad. But yeah, crypto solves it like, ta-da, it's super fast. It's easy.
Super fast, super cheap,
Just
super
like,
easy.
exactly. It's easy, fast. I'm like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense then. Especially for countries that it's harder to send money in and out. For good example, Argentina, like Southeast Asia, some of the countries. Cool.
You can speak about Africa everywhere. Like you say, send me M-Pesa. And you're like, what is this?
Oh, now I'm like, now I'm very curious to see how we're going to see the balance move between, hey, you send via the traditional rails, or people are starting to move more and more into crypto for the remittances segment as such.
I have interesting food for thought, right, for you and for listeners. You remember when before golden standards, everyone were trading coffee beans or cacao beans or whatever, right? It was the currency where you was like exchanging into.
Yeah.
Then what? Then we had gold. Then people basically, countries' wealth was based on gold, right? Everyone, if you trading something in Asia, then you have to collect gold from Asia to go back to your, I don't know, Spain, right, to buy whatever you need to sell again. And you were using gold as the way to send from country to country as a universal medium of exchange. If we speak about like these international trades, people traveling and so on, Bitcoin or other blockchain assets can be this thing, right? It's very light, right? It doesn't really get bad. It doesn't have really expiration date, right? And it's extremely easily movable. So if you are a company who orders something from Indonesia, from Nigeria, from Argentina, from Mexico, from El Salvador, and South African Republic, you know what they all understand locally? They all understand what is dollar. They all understand what is USDT. They all understand what is Bitcoin. If you have any of those things locally in that market, you can buy yourself food, you can buy shelter, you can get a taxi, and right in all of those countries. Can you easily send money via the usual fintech rails to all of these countries, like easily?
No.
I'm not sure.
Even sending it via the bank is difficult, that's it. But even I think it's easier, faster, cheaper to do it via crypto than the fintechs. Wise, Revolut. And that's a big statement, right? But
Then locally, you will need local fintechs potentially to convert those crypto into something you need. But then you do it locally via the local providers, and you as the local person, you know how to do this. Just for the sender of your money, it might be very unclear.
yeah, I'm loving this conversation. So for us newbies, semi-newbies in the crypto space, can you tell us a little bit more about the trends, current trends and future trends?
I mean, the industry is becoming so big, right? That there are trends in different things, right? There are trends in blockchains, right? There are trends in, I don't know, in financial solutions for crypto. There are trends on regulations, right? So there are plenty of trends. And I don't think we really have time to speak about all of those. But trends right now are in the blockchains is basically for something which is very cheap and quick, right? Right now, one of the leaders, I think, transactionally would be Tron blockchain. This is not anything new, but this is very massive rails for stable coins, right? So dollars on the blockchain. Solana is also not a new entrance, but also cheap and quick blockchain. They are mostly rails for USDC, right? Which is American blockchain dollar. And right now, something interesting happening with Ton, right? Which is the Telegram currency. I don't know how big is Telegram in your area, like more Eastern.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whole Europe. I know I see a lot of Telegram users here in Argentina. So having their local blockchain, internal blockchain, it's also a big thing. Then the trend DeFi, a bit of a weird trend. It was booming, but then not really, because it requires people to be more tech savvy to use DeFi, right? DeFi is decentralized finance. You can do lending and borrowing, right? Instead of your bank, you can be using smart contracts. You can use cryptocurrency as collateral for loans, right? For example, you can, you bring in your gold to the pawn shop.
Yeah.
So you can do like that. You can place your crypto in some place like lending that someone will be borrowing that. And this company gives you some collateral so that you know that they will not run away with the money. Plus, this DeFi is pretty much becoming 24/7 Forex market because there are stable coins on euros, dollars, different currencies, and you can have decentralized market, right? Decentralized market, what it means, this is very democratic, right? And the spreads are decided by the market. And I think this is honestly, if you speak about global trade, global exchange, all the arbitrage opportunities will make the price completely fair, right? And this is if someone is trading, somewhere in Asia, and they have some certain, different exchange rate from the one that you can find in America, right? Because of some specifics, regulation, and so on, there is always a one international, democratic, open for everyone, 24/7 market. This is a very good opportunity, right? For people to extract additional value, right? But this value is again stolen from whom? From whom you take this value? From institutions, right? You take it from the big banks, right? From the big financial players. And of course, they know that they might not be liking that. Who is the main baker of those organizations? It's usually the state, so the countries.
Yes.
So if you speak about this philosophical thinking, right, that internet and blockchain and smart contracts, they can make a lot of interesting financial instruments completely open for everyone to get additional value. But then you steal this value from the people who make laws, right, and who have the monopoly on the executive power, right? So they have the police and so on. So this is where it becomes a bit dangerous, but there is a trend, right? This is where it's going. And yeah, I don't want to explain DeFi in details for many reasons. I'm not a big expert in DeFi.
Yeah.
But this is definitely something worth looking into, right? I think if you call yourself an expert, an innovator in the fintech, I think it's time to understand what smart contracts and blockchain means, because it's not replacing all those, right? It's complementing all those things. So if you want to create an innovative business decision solutions by making innovative decisions, you need to get that on your radar.
Yes. And then let's say that's why we have you here. So one of those specific use cases is payments. Like the payments industry is huge in fintech. And then, of course, you have crypto processing. Can you tell us, like talking about payments as such, what is the biggest pain point that you're solving for?
I think the main one is how to quickly, with low risks as possible, collect money or send money from different people all around the globe. So this is the sweet spot, right? If you have an international business online, then you need us. Or if you send money abroad, you need us. So it's usually, so the sweet spot is marketplace.
Yeah.
So when you have a marketplace, not offering crypto there is a bad idea. I'm speaking about business models, right? For example, Airbnb. We are not there yet, but I think we should be at some point. So what it means, right? People around the globe want to pay for accommodation in places all around the globe. So that means that they send money from everywhere.
Yeah.
And people who are giving their apartments are receiving that money everywhere, right? And of course, if you are in Europe, you send SEPA, right? This is easy. You send the usual bank transfer and everyone is happy, right? When you go into more exotic places, it becomes hard. So marketplace, something which is more real. We have these marketplaces for freelancers, right? Where companies, I don't know, mostly from the first world, so-called like US, Europe, ordering services from the freelancers who might be living all around the globe, right? Maybe some digital nomads and so on. They need to receive those money. And a very, very digital industry is esports item trading, right? When kids are playing Dota. When I say kids, of course, 18 plus,
Yes.
right? But still young people playing Counter-Strikes, Dotas, I know, whatever the games they play now, the Fortnite, Roblox, and so on.
Yeah.
They want to trade with each other, all these items. And that is where crypto, because they want to make it quick, right? They might be trading. They might see, okay, in this marketplace, I can buy this, I don't know, pink gun for the Counter-Strike for $500, but in Asia, I can send it in 10 minutes for a bit more, right? And they want to buy it, transfer there, sell there, and get this crypto on the wallet in just one hour for all of these doings.
Okay.
So these are use cases at the moment. When we speak about local e-commerces, they are still a bit like, we have a local market, we have a local buyer, we have a local payment system. Foreigners don't buy anything from us. Then probably for us is not that quick of a deal. So those are like main pain points.
And also, just to add to that, as a business, maybe not for everyone who's a crypto fan or crypto early adopter, but let's say for people that I speak with in my day-to-day business life, let's say, when we say the word crypto, the first thing that they think is reconciliation settlement equals volatility, even more than USD. And then basically your customer promise is transparent fees, like upfront pricing, and then low volatility. Can you explain that, like the how that happens?
Yeah, this is, by the way, a very important question, right? The answer to this question is extremely simple. Right? It's very simple, but after so many years in the industry, I'm still like getting those questions. Basically, we cover all those risks. We don't give any volatility risk to the client. How we are doing that? If you are selling something for the fixed amount of money, I don't know, you sell 1 hour of the freelancer time, right? For $25. Someone wants to buy 100 of those hours, right? It would be 2,500. We will fix the price of this amount of dollars for 2.5K. The client will pay in Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, I don't know, whatever they want. And we will exchange it on the spot. The client will not get those Bitcoins or whatever. They will get dollars on their account. So this is if you have a fixed amount, right? Something. Some marketplaces, they have internal balances. So for example, esports trading usually have your balance and then you can buy, sell, and so on. It's like in the Revolut, you have your account and then you can buy gold, sell gold, buy Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin, whatever. There we usually use the tool which is called deposit with exchange. So basically you say, if you want to fund your balance, let's say it is in dollar, in Bitcoin, here is your deposit address, Bitcoin address, right? You send 001 Bitcoin into that address. And depending on the amount and the time when we receive it, we check what is the exchange rate right now, right? And the moment when the transaction hits the blockchain or even before that, we see, okay, the 001 Bitcoin is 6K, $630 or whatever. And we deposit it to the balance. So no one really cares, no one really handles that exchange rate volatility. Reconciliation, then easy, right? All your payments were in dollars. Reconciliation is completely easy. You issued invoices for amount X, you get amount X, right? Your user was funding the account for $630. $630 was paid. How it was paid? Through cryptocurrency payment system. But it's still dollars received from the client. Who's the client? The amount, you get this amount on the bank account. So reconciliation is easy. Price volatility is absent, right? Because we hedge it on the second of transaction. Ideally, merchants, if they don't want to, they don't touch crypto. They never have crypto on the balance. And if you don't have volatile asset on the balance, then why would you care?
Exactly. How do we then ensure that mass market, like everyone understands this? Because it seems like it's a good product. It's a good deal. Why is everyone just like looking into it right now?
This is also a very good question, right? This is like the same why Nokia didn't create iPhone. Why? It sounds like an obvious decision, no? People have fingers, they like screens, right? Why not do this together? Sounds like obvious thing to do, no? And then iPhone said, okay, we already did it. Why not everyone started doing this immediately, no? Okay, because I don't know, it will not work. I think it is the inertia. This is inertia. People like still, they read somewhere old articles that cryptocurrency is dangerous, right? Cryptocurrency is a scam and so on, which in my opinion, again, I don't want to be this conspiracy theorist, but these articles mostly promoted by whom? By classic financial infrastructure players, right? Regulators sometimes have fun just saying, okay, 5 reasons not to buy crypto. You guys, you're a financial regulator, right? It's like it sounds like financial advice. Really. So if we narrow it down, I think this is about laziness. Some people are just lazy to understand new technologies. right? And I think this is exactly what Elon Musk did with EVs, right? Why electric vehicles were not a thing? Because people were like, come on, this investing in this R&D, right? Understanding how to do it, change the whole models, change the whole, like everything. You have to change everything. And they were like, okay, we are so lazy to even start doing that we will not do it. Then someone does it and they're like, well, okay,
Then we
now we
have
can
to
do
be.
as well. We see this with the phones, we see this with the cars. I don't know, we see this with the food deliveries, right? We see this with the taxi and so on. I remember times where I was calling and said, hi, I want a taxi.
Yes.
This is my address. And they were like, we'll call you back. I'm like, and then a lot of the taxi companies were like, come on, who wants to order it from the mobile phone? Much easier to call, to speak with the person and so on. So many people, and speaking about internet, speaking about computers, speaking about mobile phones, speaking about cars, speaking about so many things are massively wrong. And those people are not something new in the industry. They are OGs, so-called. So right now, there are still plenty of OGs in the industry. Look at Warren Buffett, right? Of course, I don't know how old is he. He looks extremely old. He says, okay, I don't like Bitcoin. It's something weird. Man, you are not supposed to understand
Exactly.
This is not your thing anymore. But also this influence is so big that some people listen to what he says and think, okay, the clever guy said it is a bad thing. I will not even invest my time, right? This is ignorance and laziness. For me, this is the main reason. I think the cryptocurrency is for those who are curious and innovative.
Mhm. And I also think there's an element of, like you say, like laziness of learning something new, but also there's fear because there is like volatility, scams, this, the other. And that's where building responsible businesses like yours that it's regulated is important. So that then we give people confidence, especially if we want to make this part of mainstream in financial services. It's like, hey, we need to give confidence to the public and confidence to regulators that it's a legit.
Yes, it goes all together. It goes all together. People usually afraid of something that they don't know or they don't understand. Some things are made this way. Some things are made in the way that it should not be clear, so that everyone are afraid of this, right? This is by default. And for many people, cryptocurrency is like that. It's a bit scary because they don't understand. But of course, we don't expect everyone to suddenly understand it. So of course, they have to rely, I completely agree with you, they have to rely on reputation, they have to rely on the licensing, they have to rely on some reputational trust in the internet and so on. And everyone are building that. And all the crypto players, all the crypto companies are making this.
Yes, and then also including the very real risk of and money laundering, right? So it's like having transaction monitoring and like everything that comes with it so that merchants are like feel safe. But it's
The case of the money laundering, right, is something that this is exactly the thing which no one understands and everyone fear, right? Because of course the shop which sells groceries online, really money laundering risks. But this is how fintech works. Of course, the case is that blockchain is an open network, right? So it's very transparent for any police, anything. And it also gives plenty of space to understand where money are coming from. But AML in crypto might be even a bit easier than IML with, I don't know, cards or many other things.
Yeah, just because of the nature of traceability and openness. Yeah. Cool. So as we approach towards the end of the episode, I want to like change gears a little bit and talk more about you as a human and as a product person and founder. You have an amazing mind. So starting with what makes a great product?
I think attention to details in the way how customers use it. So amazing product for me, what I'm really big fan of, when they really think about my journey. this is not something new, right? This is what is taught in the product schools and so on. If I need to do something concrete, just give me the steps and clear buttons how to make it, right? If we speak about financial products, it's very multi-sided, multi-faced. So you have to think about the user flow, but you also have to think about API flow, right? How their system speaks with your system, right? To make it efficient with the less amount of API requests back and forth. And then you make sure that those clients, those roles, which really then do reconciliations, how you said, and so on, that they are also happy. Because we have to please multiple stakeholders. It's not like in the B2C market where you have Revolut and you can do everything. No, you have those people who report to the board, right? The CEO has to make sure that they have what they need. Reconciliation team have what they need. The support of your client also need to get quickly the information that they need. So the good product is something that is not only easy to understand, reliable, and working quickly, but also where every role on the client side can easily do what they need. And in this case, you increase the retention from your client massively because they don't want to switch to anyone else because they understand that you already have something which is supposed to be complicated, but you have it easy.
Yeah.
So this is my philosophy, really like thinking about all those stakeholders, making sure that they are all satisfied.
Yeah, interesting. Because you're right. It's a very complex ecosystem. And it is about the details because everything is interconnected. It's like little detail here affects everything else. You've been very long in this game, and we all know it's not an easy game. It comes with ups and downs and failures. What are your biggest lessons on failure and just managing all the challenges?
Biggest lesson is, I don't know, we always hear about big journey, right? Doesn't go easily, right? Or come easily. Basically, last year we had a massive incident, right, with the North Korean hackers, right? Of course, it was a very big, challenge, right, for all of us, right, for me as well. Like we on these big aims, huge goals, right, and the journey there, you have to always understand that if you aim high, you have to be ready to go through challenges. So the lesson is not to speak about concrete lessons, right? Okay, you have to invest in security.
Oh, no.
This is obvious things.
Yeah.
But you just have to be ready that there would be some dark times where you just have to, I don't know, crawl through, run through, go through somehow. But you just, when you are there, you just have to figure it out. And this having to figure it out, if you are ready for this, then when it happens, okay, this is the time that you cannot get ready for, but you can at least anticipate that there would be these times, right? And just don't be afraid of them. Not all of them, of course, come easily. Some of them you might fail, but without trying to go through them, there is no chance to go through them.
Yeah. I think that's one of my very common phrases. It's sometimes you just have to push through. That's it. Sometimes you just have to push through and you just have to continue. And that's it.
You can quit, right? Quitting is always an option. You can always quit. But if you make that decision, you understand that you will have to start over, right? If you don't quit, then you continue.
Yeah. It's like staying in the game. Cool.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mindset shift that you had when you became a CEO?
Managing stakeholders. I think like when you become a CEO, you clearly understand, right, that there are groups of interests, right? And these all groups of interest are extremely important, right? You have the partners and stakeholders, right, who pretty much interested in this business growing and their motivations, mostly business growth and revenues, right? Then you have clients whose motivations are low prices and good service and good product. And then you have your team,
Yeah.
right, who made this all happen, right? Then you have regulators, right, who have their own agenda. So basically managing all those stakeholders. I think this is something I didn't think about before. That, okay, it's not only making your clients happy, it's everything.
Everyone.
Yeah.
And how, like, people are so important. Like our people, staff, our colleagues. How have you built a culture such that people are happy and in high performance at the same time?
Oh, I think we are still building it, right? I think we are still building because we grew from 6 people to 260 in 5 years.
Whoa.
And of course, the culture is always changing, right? So you can start with 6 people, we are all friends. Then with 20 people, you can be like, we are still friends. And 50, you can do, we are a big extended family, right? Over 100, you are not a family anymore. You're not friends anymore, right? You really start to have this corporate thing that like, okay, you have to sell your idea to departments and so on. Then at 200, you already don't know the names of the people, right? You have no idea who is there. And then you start playing more corporate game. Okay, there are goals, right? There are like aligned goals. There is the tactics behind the strategy and so on. So it's still important. I think the main idea for us is ownership, right? So that each person on the management level, can be middle management, they are responsible for certain parts, right, of the customer journey. Either it is onboarding or it is just account management, either it is signing documents, reviewing documents, transaction monitoring, and so on. That everyone has a stake in the general success of the organization. And basically, the organization creates the goals, and then you understand how your department or your individual contribution works towards the common goal. And then, of course, the KPIs and the bonuses depend on how you can contribute to this thing. So this is like the alignment that we believe in, that I believe in, but we are still, I cannot say that we achieved already great height in these things.
Yeah, it's always work in progress, I think. Because exactly like you said, over 150 people, then it starts becoming a different beast and then people come and go. So you're never reached a point and then maintain it. It's have to continue.
At some point, you stop building processes or anything around concrete people, right?
Yeah.
You build it around roles, right? And then because some people might leave, some people might, I don't know, join and so on, and they have to fit in what is already working.
Exactly. And then one of my favorite questions, that is the last question. If you were to change one thing in the industry that could have the most impact to customers, members of staff, and shareholders, what could that be?
Building sustainable, long-lasting business models. I think there are too many people who are building projects for a year or two. Okay, there is quick opportunity, we quickly create, we quickly make money, and then we're out. This is what I think is hurting the market a bit because they don't think about what will be after them.
I like that. That's a very...
So thinking more about sustainable models.
Yeah, that's very practical and very real. Because, well, what happens after year two? Yeah. Cool. Max, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the show. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you very much, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you, Max. Ciao, ciao, everyone.